So the lens on this camera has a range of, I think, 16 millimeters to about 165 millimeters. If you were converting that to full frame, something like 28 to 365. And it's got a great zoom range, which I'll talk about in a bit, but what I first noticed was I was trying to focus on things about this far away from me, and it wasn't working. And that's because the minimum focal distance when you have it set to regular mode is 3 feet. So anything 3 feet to a million feet away, you can focus fine. But to get anywhere closer than that, you're going to need to turn on the macro mode, which is simply just pressing the, I think it's the number 4 button, brings up a little flower on your screen, and you're suddenly in macro mode, which is great because I haven't had a macro lens on the GH4 or the GH3 for a very long time. So it was nice to be able to have that capabilities in such a gigantic camera. One of the things that I've done often for historical documentaries is sort of tabletop shots, panning across photographs, stuff like that, the Ken Burns style effect. So here are a couple of tests that I did in that style where I'm really, really close to the objects and in macro mode and sliding across them. So one thing when shooting documentaries is, of course, the old talking head interview shoot. Now, what I really wanted to test was how this lens was going to hold up for doing that kind of thing, because I think we've all gotten used to having sort of a soft focus from having like a f1.8 lens or something on the camera when you're shooting those kinds of things. So you're really just keeping the person in focus. I wanted to see what that was going to look like on this camera because the lens is 2.8 to, I think, 4.5 when you're zoomed in all the way. So was that going to have that nice soft look behind? So here the camera is about 6 feet away from the subject and the wall is another 6 feet behind them with a C-stand somewhere in the middle of that. So you can see how soft it looks from that close. Now I move the camera about 6 feet back from there, so we're about 12 feet away from the subject, and still there's another 6 feet to the wall.